Hi Scorpio, welcome to November. So I'm Jody with Soul Purpose Tarot. Thanks for stopping by. If this is your first time, I would love it if you would like or subscribe or share or even comment. Just tell me what you thought. If you liked it, you hate it. I do take constructive criticism. So let's see what's going on for November. If I can keep a hold of the cards. All right, let's go here. Scorpio, 2018, November 2018. It looks like, from what I'm reading and hearing, that November is going to be a big month for a lot of people. A lot of good stuff going on. A lot of changes, a lot of shifts. So let's see what's going on with you guys. You're done and over something. That's good. That usually means the end of a cycle. You can only go to the beginning again, so something you're done and over with. I don't want all those. I'll take that one. Oh, okay. World card. End of a cycle. And a broken heart is over. Okay. Give me a one or two more, please. Scorpio, 2018, November. There's one more. Okay. All right. So let's see. So, Ten of Swords. You are done. You are over. Your goose is cooked. Whatever's been going on, it is the end. The Nine of Cups in reverse would be someone who sitting pretty, got everything together. I feel like in this case, it's kind of like you've been trying to hold on to some emotions and you finally decided to let go of them. So I guess what I'm feeling here is you finally said your piece about something. Because cups usually indicate emotions. So I feel like you, is it a verbal confrontation, or you held something in and you held something in and you held something in to the point of where you're like, I can't take this anymore, and you just let her rip. That is the feeling that is going on right now. So the World is kind of a completion card. So, and it's also a major arcana, which means that it is a kind of a life lesson, spiritual lesson. And this is probably something that has needed to come for a long, long time. I have this feeling that you were not good at keeping your boundaries up before, and you had people that maybe took advantage of that, and you finally got tired of that, and you said, done, over, I'm not putting up with this crap anymore, and now we're starting all over again, and we're starting a new phase in life, and that's what's going on. This would be a broken heart, but I also feel like it in the reverse position, Three of Swords is you're kind of over having a broken heart. And maybe that's why you finally decided to say something, is because you got the nerve up, and your self-worth issues have kind of come to full circle, and you're ready to, okay, where do I want to go with this? Self-worth issues stopped you from saying what you wanted to before. Worried about what other people would think of you, what they would say about you, and worried about, in general, what people, thought. And you got to the point where you suddenly were like, I don't care what anybody thinks of me. If they don't like me, so be it. I'm not letting this stuff happen anymore. And so there was a tower moment at some point in time, and that tower moment is over because it's in the reverse position now. So something major happened that caused this big blow up. And good for you for saying what you needed to say. And I think this is a new beginning. Obviously, you've got the World card. This is a new beginning of you having more self-confidence, of not letting people walk all over you. And you're kind of like, and there weren't a lot of negative repercussions like you were expecting. You said your piece. They may not have liked it. They're not sure about who this new person is that's suddenly saying what they think and mean, because they're not used to that. I think you in the past have probably been one of those that's kind of kept to yourself. I know Scorpios tend to be kind of secretive and don't let people in. So this is a case of, you know what? I've spent 5 years listening to your bullshit, and all of a sudden you go, and you just like vomit all over them, word vomit all over them, and go, and you let them know what you've think, instead of holding it in and kind of keeping that stuff to yourself. So a lot of emotions got spewed all over the place. Good for you, not so good for them. But you know what? They know where you stand now. So I'm going to do the mixed emotions cards. Let's see what kind of, gosh, dang, well, what did I say? A lot of emotions were coming out. And so now they're like flying all over the place. Good grief. Okay, so let's see. I have 6 out here. Let's see what it says. Now this is longing in the reverse position. Yearning, wistful, homesick. But that was in the reverse position. So I feel like you just were like, you weren't yearning anymore. You were just, it was the opposite of that. You were like, this is how I feel. I'm not needing anything. I'm not needing your approval. I don't need you to be okay with who I am. And you're like, you were frustrated about something, and that's what blocked you in the past. And I feel like that frustration was something that came from childhood. It was like you were not allowed in childhood to speak your thoughts and mind. There's a phrase, children, see, let me think what it is. Children are best seen and not heard. I feel like that's the type of childhood that you grew up with. And that's why you were always very not good at speaking up and saying what was going on in your mind, was because it was taught to you when you were a kid that that was wrong. Showing your emotions, throwing a temper tantrum, everything you did to try to show you weren't happy with the situation was always shown with disapproval. And so you learned to like just keep all of those feelings and emotions in. I also am getting this feeling of some of you watching this could have weight issues because you ate as your way to push those feelings down. You were taught from an early age, don't say what you think, we don't want to hear it. And so instead of saying what you thought, you ate to push those feelings down. So you could find a lot of you that are watching this who do have weight problems. And I think that if you start speaking your mind, you might find that you don't use food as a suppressant for that. Now you're feeling a little panicky because this is all new to you. You saying your thoughts and your feelings is kind of like, oh my God, what's going to happen now? And it does have you a little bit in a panic mode, but it's going to be okay. I mean, there is a possibility that you could lose some friends over this. But they probably were not very good friends in the first place. If they don't allow you to be who you are and express your feelings and let you say, hey, you're overstepping your boundaries, you need to back the shit off and leave me alone. If they don't understand that, they're not that good of a friend anyway, so you're not losing anything in the process. So don't be so hard on yourself at this point in time. This one says grief, but I feel like the opposite of grief is relief. It's kind of like you're relieved to get all of that out in the open, and it does feel like kind of a big black cloud has been lifted off of your head, and it's just like this big sigh of relief. It's like people have been trying to control you or dictate what to do, and you finally put your foot down and finally said, nope, we're not doing that anymore. And you're kind of like, you know, while you're a little stressed about it, because this is really kind of one of the first times you've ever done anything like this, blew a gasket. So you're still kind of processing all of the new emotions that are coming along with that. Creative came in the upside, in the reverse position. So creative would be imaginative, inventive, and expressive. The first thing that popped up when I see that is I feel like you want to go back in your shell again, like a snail. It's kind of like you came out in a fury, and now you're like going back within yourself again. You may do that for a little bit just to see kind of what happens and see where the dust settles and the fallout is. But I think it won't be long before you go, okay, nothing too major happened here. I'm gonna do this in another area of my life. Here's another person over here that I need to tell them how I feel and how they've mistreated me, or how they've overstepped their boundaries or whatever. You know, this happened with somebody in particular who was probably very close to you, but you have other people in your life that you have held stuff in for a long, long time. And now it's a case of, okay, I've done that with one person. I have 3 more people in my life that I need to speak up and say what's on my mind. And I feel like there's a mother energy that is one of them. Too bad this is not the Pisces reading, because I would know exactly who this message was for. But I feel like that whoever this original fight was or disagreement was that you spoke up with was somebody close. Could have been a really good friend, could have been your spouse, but there may be a sister or a mother, or I feel like there's another female energy that you need to have one of these conversations with and just say, listen, you need to back off. I don't need your advice, and you don't know what you're talking about any more than anybody else does. So it's coming. Just know that it's coming, and it could come 2 or 3 more times before you get everything out of your system that you have literally been holding in for years. I feel like this has been years. This one came up desperate, frantic, out of control, and in need. So I think that's kind of like you do have that feeling of like going, okay, now I've got to do that with so-and-so. And while you're kind of going in like a little bit of a snail, at the same time, you're kind of like going, okay, I need to do that over here, and I need to do that here, and I need to do that here. And that does make you feel a little out of control, because this is a new experience for you. So let's move on. Okay, so those were emotions. Let's get some whispers of healing. These are messages from your guides, your oversoul, your past relatives, kind of giving advice on maybe how to handle the situation, or how to make you feel better about the situation, how to stop beating yourself up, because I feel like you are really beating yourself up about this. But it's a new beginning for not letting people step all over you. And that's just always a good thing. So what's everybody got to say about this new beginning of speaking your mind? I'm trying to think what to name the title. You finally blew a gasket. You spoke your mind, and I don't know. Yeah, that's what the theme of this is, though. You spoke your mind. shocked the crap out of a whole lot of people when you did it. All right, what's the first one? The first one that came up say? Modify. I feel like that is saying the next time you do this, modify it a smidgen. You won't feel as bad about it. The other person won't feel as bad about it. You can still say what you need to say, and everybody, you won't have a tower moment that happens. It won't be a matter of like mass destruction that happens. Tone it down a little bit. And, baby steps, basically, is what I'm saying. This one says progress. Yeah, baby steps. First time didn't go so well. First time you let somebody know how you felt, you exploded like a volcano. The next time you do it, you're kind of thinking now, it's like, okay, I probably would have handled that a little differently. So again, the next time you do it, it'll be a little bit different. It'll be a little bit softer. You'll modify it a smidgen so it's not quite as explosive. You may, I don't know if you have or not, you may go apologize to the person that you went off on. And just, because I know you feel bad about it. I feel like you feel really bad about how you handled it. So go apologize and say, I'm really sorry that I handled it the way I did. I was having a bad day and I just couldn't take it anymore. They may understand, they may not. Again, if they don't understand, they weren't a true friend of yours in the first place, and they're not going to stick by your side. And, people have blowouts occasionally. It's part of life. The earth has volcanoes and eruptions, and so do people. Oh, my nose is so plugged up. This is driving me crazy. Let's see. What else do your family-friendly guides have to say about this situation that you... Let's do that one. That one's coming out. Release. Okay, yeah. Release your guilt feelings. If you need to apologize to that person for going off the deep end, do that. If you haven't already, release some more stuff. I mean, it's like you're like a pressure valve, pressure gauge. You let it go too long, so the next time don't take so long to release, and it won't end up being quite such a blow. Release that pressure a little at a time, and I guess that's all I can say is, like, don't let it go on so long the next time that you just hit the roof. But good for you for speaking your mind and not letting people walk all over you. Let's get one more. I'm taking the top one. Awareness. I think this is an awareness. The next time you start feeling that like pit in your stomach, grumbling, I feel like it's like this grumbling feeling of like anxiety and agitation. And if you're like me, a lot of times when you feel that anger, agitation, anxiety, I tend to stuff stuff in my mouth too. It's like, I don't know where it's coming from. If I was smart, I would use some of my oils to get rid of that anxiety. I've got access to them. I just don't think about it. Sometimes for so many years, I turned to food when it came to stuffing down my feelings. I still do that sometimes. And really what I need to do is probably use my oils to dissipate those feelings instead of using food for those feelings. But you know what? We're all a work in process. All a work in process. I want to do, what else do I want to do? I feel like I want to do these. Okay, so this is some more advice cards from your higher self, oversoul, guides about anything else that they think that they want you to know about who you are and how you handle situations and what you can do to keep yourself from letting people walk all over you. What do you guys have to say? Anything else here? Anything else? Any last words of advice for Scorpio? Any last words of advice for Scorpio? November 2018. You've been training for this for a lifetime. Maybe that's what you're training for. You're training for how to communicate your true feelings. And maybe, maybe this was a learning lesson, and maybe that's, something that you're going to have a conversation with. I feel like a teenage daughter or something, it's like you're a mom and you have a teenage daughter, and your teenage daughter is doing the same thing, and she's eating as a way to stuff down the feelings, just like her mom has all of these years. And so now you're like, okay, now I know how to tell my teenage daughter how not to do this with her friend that's doing this to her at school or whatever. And so suddenly you've got a shift of where you're going to start teaching people how to not do that. Okay. Just say yes. What are they saying? Just say yes. It's not just it's not say yes to what everybody is asking you to do, because that's what got you in the trouble in the first place, is you were always saying yes when you really wanted to say no. Okay, all right. Say yes to yourself. Don't say yes to other people. Say yes to yourself. Does this fit into my schedule? Yes, it fits into my schedule. No, it doesn't fit into my schedule. Does this fit into my life? Yes, it does. No, it doesn't. So start saying yes to yourself. Don't say yes to other people just because you think that's what they want to hear. This is kind of what got you into trouble in the first place, was you didn't have the guts to speak up for yourself and go, you know what, I don't have time to make 16 dozen cupcakes for school. Find somebody else to do it. But you said yes, and because you said yes, it frustrated you, and then it made you mad, and it was saying yes to the wrong people and the wrong things too many times, and that's kind of what ended up blowing. So you need to start saying, yes, this fits. Yes, this makes me feel better. Yes, taking this downtime makes me feel better. Yes, saying no makes me feel better. So I feel like that's what the yes card is all about. Keepers of the earth. You are not alone. Ancient ancestors stand beside you. So I think that you've got some helpers that are going to help you take better care of yourself. And even though the meditation card has not come out, for whatever reason, I feel like the next card ought to be meditation. And it needs to be, you need to take better care of yourself. You need to take more time for yourself. You need to take more hot baths. You need to take more walks. You need to do more exercise. You need to do more things that are beneficial for yourself instead of trying to make the rest of the world happy. So I feel like that's kind of what the message here is more good things for you, less about making everybody else's life easy. Okay, so Scorpio, that was your reading for November. I will see you mid-November. If this resonated with you, would you please say yay, no? Pass it on to a friend that's going through this right now. And I look forward to hearing. If you guys need a personal reading, send me a message. That's jojolianne@gmail.com. That is in the description box. And I hope to see all of you again soon. Thanks. Bye.